we are energized by what we see here. We have 40 heads of state, heads of government from all over Africa. The president spoke, the secretary spoke today. I'm especially excited about the digital transformation initiative that we announced, we launched. It's one of our most ambitious and I would say historic initiative aimed at really helping Africa leapfrog into the digital revolution. We are rolling almost $800 million worth of commitments. $350 million will come from the United States after the Congress goes through the process, and we have another $450 million we'll mobilize from private sector to invest in digital infrastructure, to invest in the human capital in Africa, that Africa can have an enabling environment where digital economy can thrive.
Do you have like particular countries you see that offer more opportunity? I know it's like about 50 countries coming.
Yes.
So do you see that more opportunities from one of them in terms of infrastructure, in terms of technology, or far they already been?
Right. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's a big continent. It's not a monolith. There are countries that have more acute needs than others. But I can tell you a few deals, a few opportunities that are in play as we speak. We see in DRC, for example, DFC, Development Finance Corporation, is financing a $100 million project for upgrading mobile networks. In South Africa and countries around the region, DFC is supporting another $300 million worth of investment for data centers. But then, when you look at the continent as a whole, we need to upgrade the human capital. So some of the initiatives around women, around mentoring of entrepreneurs, that will be Pan-Africa. Again, we announced the initiative today. It's going to be a whole of government effort that will involve State Department and Commerce and MCC and DFC and USAID, and we will develop a roadmap when we start to implement this.
Do we have a timeline in terms of when we're going to start implementing those projects?
Well, some of these projects are actually happening as we speak. They're already, as I mentioned, Emmanuel, they are being financed. There have been infrastructure projects that have been underway. I think this summit, which is a historic summit, our first time in 10 years that we're hosting in Washington, is going to further momentum for us to speed things up. Look, we also need a partnership on the other end. Here in Washington, we are certainly ready to go, but we also need our partners across the continent step up with folks at all levels who have the capacity to mobilize this investment, make sure we are working at all levels to implement these efforts.
Almost every single leaders who have been invited came, which is a great success compared to the America Summit, where there are some of them who didn't come. Why do you think we got this success with the African leaders for this summit?
I was at the Summit of the Americas in Los Angeles, and look, my view is we work with everybody. There are multiple forums where you have this conversation. One event in itself does not do justice to just the massive need and opportunity of an entire continent, whether it's Africa or it's South and Central America. So we obviously would love to host everyone, and it's wonderful that we have an array of pretty much the entire leadership from Africa that's gathered here in Washington. But we also leverage other opportunities to meet with our partners. And we will keep at it. I think what we have seen with President Biden is, ever since he's taken office, we have rebuilt our alliances around the world on mutual respect, trust, making sure the U.S. interests are advancing, especially in the face of what's happening in the world. I know we are still recovering from a global pandemic that affected pretty much the entire world. The effects of the war in Ukraine that President Putin started, we are still going through the ramifications of that: food insecurity, energy insecurity. These challenges affect every continent, they affect every country, and so we're leveraging every opportunity, whether it's these large summits or bilateral relationships that we have to advance our shared interests.
There are some concerns regarding intellectual properties, trade properties, especially in Asia and other countries. It's a big investment for Africa, but how do you deal with those such a problem? Put some guidelines so we avoid having this problem we are dealing with Russia, with China, and other other countries.
Before I joined the administration, I was in the tech world, so I have run companies in the tech and software world. You cannot be a productive member of a digital economy as a country if you have not upgraded and modernized your regulatory framework. You have to respect IP. The products that we are building in digital economy are all knowledge based. They're all about ideas. And if an entrepreneur, whether she's in Africa or she's in South America, does not feel comfortable that her ideas that she drew on the back of a paper napkin can be protected, you're not going to see that entrepreneurship. The reason why we do well in this country and Silicon Valley, which leads the world in innovation, is because we don't even think about that somebody's going to take my ideas away, right? So you have to develop IP. In fact, part of what the president announced today, the Digital Transformation Initiative, we're going to actually help these countries in Africa, our partners in Africa, develop that capacity around IP frameworks, making sure we can advise them, and because we went through the process ourselves, right? How do you protect IP? It is obviously good for African entrepreneurs. It's obviously also important for U.S. Content providers and entrepreneurs.
The investment is huge. In Africa, we have a lot of talented people, but there are some fields we might not have as many people as we might. Is the U.S. open for sending some tech savvy to Africa to train them and give more opportunity to people like me, African like me, so we can learn from the U.S. experience in terms of technology.
It's going to take all of us. In fact, one of the key pillars of this initiative is to develop the human capital, to develop the tech talent. You're absolutely correct. Without tech talent, digital economy cannot run. So we're going to invest in that. There's also a role for the diaspora, folks like yourself, right? We have 2 million Americans of African descent, and there is a lot of energy for the diaspora with countries of origin. I know from Silicon Valley, my own experience, there's a significant diaspora, whether it's from Nigeria or South Africa, who some of them have played a big role, and some pretty famous entrepreneurs that we know. But there are others also who I think are ready to contribute. So what we're hoping is this platform that this week we have this incredible energy is going to put some more sunshine, if you will, on the opportunity in Africa, and that will attract diaspora. Obviously, will energize people in Africa. Look, at the end of the day, you want local folks to really deliver on their utmost potential, and that's where we are to help develop them, make sure that we can provide assistance where we can. But again, what I'm really hoping is that our partners pick this up on the other end. We are here to assist, but the ball has to be carried through with folks in Africa.
Do you know, that last question, if the U.S. might have some kind of opportunity for Haiti? I am from Haiti. I am African. The aviation African, so I have to ask for Haiti. We are not maybe open for business with the political crisis we have right now, but do you think about some kind of opportunities, investment in technology for countries like Haiti?
Well, first of all, obviously what's happening in Haiti is right now there's a challenging time, and we are always looking at how we can support. This summit was very much focused on Africa. We obviously have done the America Summit. That work is still carrying on, and we will certainly continue to look for ways where we can support Haiti, whether it's responding to the challenges on the economic front or on the social front. But appreciate your point. But I think, look, when you look at the digital economy, there is plenty of opportunity for all to get involved. But certainly this week we've been very much focused on Africa.